Hello everyone, I'm Deflesh3004. Welcome back to Satisfactory. Thank you for coming to hang out with me. I always enjoy having you here, so sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and let's get into some gaming. So, as I said, it was going to be a little bit before I came back to this. I actually got done what I wanted to a little bit sooner, and I think I may have to rework a few things, but I'll go over that later, probably in a different episode, but we'll see. So right now, what I have done is I have been working like crazy trying to get some stuff figured out. And I'll show you what I have been doing here real quick while we still have a chance. So I am going to be reworking a lot of things here. Most of the machines are not working as much as they were for one reason. This guy is now completely full of pipes, so there is that, excuse me. And this guy is getting mostly full of pipes because it is filling up in here that is also making a whole bunch of stators. So the stators are completely full. And then, of course, we have in here the motors that are completely full because the motors have also filled up over here. So these guys are completely full. A lot of these machines are not running anymore. And over here, this thing is completely full. And also over here, this thing is completely full as well. I have been working, trying to get things figured out. I took the tractor out from here where it was when I had the truck stop thing. Because I didn't need it, because I figured I could just run a conveyor belt from basically what would feed into the assembler over there from all the way over here. So I do have all kinds of stuff feeding into there, and that's all right. That's what this is for. And right now this thing is filling up pretty good, it would appear like, so that's okay too. And looks like everything here is actually running pretty good, so there is plenty of stuff here. Just drop those few leaves in there. So I do have a long conveyor lines full of concrete. What I have done is over here, I have decided to move some things around to make way for what I'm doing. I have one of these conveyor stations of these things right here, the conveyor lifts, and it has those frames on it, the modular frames. So I have those heading over that way, and then over here I have also, this thing's of course getting full of the things here, the steel beams, which I may not need a lot more of for a little bit. And this thing is completely full here, which means we have a bunch of the versatile framework. I have put 600 almost in, 600 in to the objective up there in the upper right. Put 600 in already, so we could probably finish that off or get close. And then I have built another one of those conveyor lifts to have that go down into here to fill this up. And I have put in a bunch of lifts everywhere to try to get things as organized as I can. And it's been a royal pain. But I also have over here where this pipes are just feeding into the pipe one. And not over here, I have a conveyor lift there that's feeding up into a conveyor that is going over here. Now, over here this way, let me get over there and I'll show you what I have been doing. So I have, of course, this here. I still need to rework this, but I have built this place over here. This is where we have all the copper stuff. I reworked some of the power lines and everything. We have our manufacturer, and I'm going to make some of the modular frames in this one so that we can get this going, because we need that anyway. We need those for some other things, and we'll get to those after a bit. But for right now, I really probably need more of the modular engines. And in here, I'm going to have some things happening so I can make like motors, the stators, and the rotors. And then I can make motors, so I can also do it in either one, and then that can feed into here. And I may rework things, turn things a little bit, I don't know yet, but I do know we need the modular frames. And let me go over to here. We don't need the modular frames yet for things, but we will be needing them, so I might as well just go and start making them. And I haven't redone anything over here yet, except for some things with the copper wire, and I'll go over that after a little while. So for right now, either the modular engines, the adaptive control units, which is where we need these frames, the heavy modular frames, we need these. And I'm going to have to figure out how in the heck I am going to get some of this other stuff going, because I'm going to need computers for the adaptive control units. The computers are in here. Actually, they're not, but the circuit boards are in here and the computers are in here. So I'm going to need these, which means I need plastic, and then I also need to have, you know, the wires, the copper wire, you know, this stuff right here, the cable going into here, and then I also need circuit boards, which are going to be coming into here. But I got to get plastic over here first, and that's going to be a problem. So I am going to get stuff figured out. It's just is going to take a little bit more for me to do, and I kind of did this a little differently, but we need the modular frames. So I'm gonna probably get modular frames into here first. Let me show you what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna get down over here. There's gonna be a whole mess of stuff happening right now, and it's gonna be a little bit fun for a while. What I am going to do is I'm gonna get up on here. I do have a conveyor belt that I have here that's going to be bringing rods from that constructor right there. And then I'm just going to take this guy right here. So if you middle click on your mouse, you can build anything that you have built. If I want to make another constructor or an assembler, middle click with the mouse and I can make another assembler. If I want to make another one of these right here, I can just middle click and I can make another one of those. So, right now, what I am going to do is I'm going to figure out a way to get this to go into the assembler over there. Turning you a little bit like that. And getting you into the assembler. So I'm going to put you right there. I'll build up one on top of him. I think that's in the right place. Let me go take a look, and it is not in the right place. I want you up there. Let me get rid of that guy. And then I can go to number 3, and I can have this conveyor belt right here come across to here. Okay. And then I can have a conveyor belt go to either one of these, depending on how I want to work this. That part I still have to figure out. So let me get over there. I'm going to do the screws over here too. I have a whopping lot of coal right now, and that's a-okay. So I diverted the screws, so that way I have them split, and then I'm just going to take this from here, and I'm going to take you up to there. Okay. And then this guy will be making, of course, quite a few more screws and everything, which is going to help. And then what I have to do is figure out how I am going to not have these things get all confused. So this is going to be the fun part. Let me... No, not you. You. Let me see if I can, in fact, get this over there. And I might as well just put it into that first one. That's what I'm thinking. Potentially. I may put it into the second one. I have to actually go over there and look, because I don't know. It's going to be fun trying to get these right here to go into one of them, and I would much rather have it go into that one. So I may have to rework things a little bit. Let me go see. So I think I have things figured out. I'm going to put it in the second assembler over there. So I'm going to take this one up to that one right there. So that way that goes there. And then I'm going to take the screws, and I have a second one right over there. Do that. And then I can start having these rods go into here. Once I have this over here, then I can drop these guys right down into these. Or I can also do something that I have been doing with a lot of things, and you did see some of that. Let's go take these conveyor lifts, and I'm just going to do like that, and then I use my middle mouse button and I turn them around. And you can also stretch them up. If you just look up or down, you can also look down, and you can stretch them up wherever you want to. You can turn them whichever way you want them to go. So I'm going to do that one there. And I'm going to do this one here. So you click first, and then you use your middle mouse button to do whatever, and then you click again, and then that makes that work. And then I'm going to take those. Those are going to go into there. Oh, fell off. Now I got to get back up there. So let me get back up there real quick, and then I'm going to take these into there. Those are going to feed into there. There we go. I have not wired this stuff in yet, but if I have rods and screws coming into here, then that means that I can begin making rotors in here. So I'll wire this stuff up after a bit, because the rotors I'm going to have to use to make motors, but I also need stators in here. And I'm just going to make all that stuff over here. And then I will also make some automated wiring, probably over here too. I just have to figure out how I'm going to do everything. This may be constructors up here on this top part, but I do want the modular frames as well. So I'm going to have to really figure out how in the heck I am going to make this work, because this is going to be quite a bit of fun. But I can always get this stuff done first, and then I can worry about that a little bit later, because the motors I'm going to need for these modular engines. And again, I need a lot of stuff from there. So this is going to be a huge work in progress. I have been working on it. It's just very time consuming and kind of head scratcher type stuff to try to figure out how can I make this do this and this do that and all this other stuff. So now I need to have these modular frames go over there, and let me go make sure I am getting everything lined up the way that I need it. Okay, so I had to make a slight change because I did notice something when I was looking at things. I apparently wasn't paying attention much. So these heavy modular frames, 120 screws per modular frame. And yeah, that's going to be fun. And that's the first part. So now I have to pipe in the rest of the stuff. And I also just went ahead and put a splitter on where those screws were coming out of. So that way it can go right into there. And that should help. And then I'll be making a lot of screws. Now, let me actually... watch out for the tractor. Go back over here. And let me go see if I can start getting... I think I'm going to have to put in a whole bunch of these just to get stuff lined up right. I think that would be the best thing to do. So I'm going to need some of the pipes and the frames here. You know, these modular frames. And then I can get up the concrete over here too. So let me just go ahead and start getting these guys put in. So that way I have them done. And then I can start transporting stuff over. Let me go over here. Get up over there. And then I should be able to make stuff line up fairly decently. Or so I'm hoping. And I can do that. I can get up on here. Then I can go from here. Okay, so right now I have to do it like this. Get that built, and then I had to put in some of those stands here. Oh, oh, don't fall off. You already fell off. And then, whoops. Then from there, I can take it into there. Okay. Then we're going to do the same thing right over here. I'm going to take this, put that into there. Just so that one is just like that. And then I'm going to take the steel pipes over here as well. So I'm probably going to have to do the same thing like I did here, but make sure that it's in front of this one. And then we'll see if we can make this work. Some of these belts are just too long to work, so I'm having to make them go to other places. So that way I can make them work. Okay. And then from there, I can take it from there. And then I should be able to take it. I'm just going to take it to here because I already built that. And then I can take it from there into there. Okay, 3 pieces are done. That's just 3 pieces that we need to be able to make the modular frames. Now I need the concrete, reinforced concrete blocks. So I'm really trying to make things somewhat organized as I can. And it's kind of working, I guess. It is a complete mess, but it is working, I think. So let me just go ahead and take this guy, put this guy in here. Take that one like that. And then I will begin getting the reinforced concrete beams, steel beams, over there. And this might actually take a little bit of work because I gotta take them out of here and then figure out how I'm gonna get them all the way to over there. Yeah, I think I'm finally getting this figured out, this last piece figured out. Had to build several of these conveyor holder things so that way I can, you know, get it across here, and then I wired it up into here so that we have that. I still have to get power to here, but I can do that really easy. I think we still have enough power. I'm pretty sure that we do. Let's go ahead and go to number 2. And I do have a power thing right here, and that one is actually completely full. I know I have another one here. I just gotta remember where I put it. Yes, that one is completely full. So I guess I'm gonna have to make another line. And I can do that pretty easy because I'm gonna have to wire up all of these guys too. So let me just go ahead and put in a pole. If I do that right back here, I think that should work. Shouldn't be blocking too much. And then we can just wire that in from here into there. Okay, and then that should work. Then from there into there. And then I can take another pole over here, maybe between like these guys or something. As much as I can between these guys. That way I can just kind of keep power lines as clean as possible. All of these things are powered. What's going on here? Okay, he doesn't have anything. He should have power. And this one. Okay. Okay, he's now making rotors because I already had that set. And this one is going to be making stators. I don't believe that's going to be making stators because I don't think I have anything wired into that one. So there's going to be a whole bunch of rotors waiting to come out, but we can worry about that after a little while. And in here, now we should be able to make all of these frames. So let me go ahead and see about getting something set up back here, because we're going to need it. Okay, do that. And then we should be able to start making heavy modular frames, finally. Okay, it's going to take a little while for this to feed in, but it shouldn't be too terribly bad. Now that we have everything kind of working, it looks like all that stuff is actually feeding in now, and that's good. And I don't have anything into this one, because I need to figure out how I'm going to do the rotors and... Let me see, I have the rotors in that one. Yes. And then I'm going to need statters in this one, so I can get that done. So that means I'm going to have the wire and pipes also coming into this one. And those pipes are all the way over there. So let me go see if I can get something going into here as well. So I have the pipes diverted, and I'll show you that here in a quick minute. Let me get these copper wires. Okay, and again, it is too long, and I may have to build something else to make this work. So let me go see what I can do, but I'll go and show you that real quick. I just put in a splitter right here, and I have those pipes going into there. And then, now I can come over to here, and I can go see if I can build another one of those frames like that there. Okay, now I have the copper wire going in. Sheesh. Stuff is quite difficult to get figured out if you're, have everything strewn all across the country, you know what I mean? But sometimes that's just the way this does work, apparently. So now I have these guys going into there, and those guys going into here. Now let's go ahead and see about getting these statters going, so that way we have them. Okay. Now it's going to be feeding the wire in. And it should be doing okay. Just got to get the wire over here. And here comes the wire. There we go. And I'm just going to split that. I'm going to split that again. And I'll just go ahead and put in quite a bit of wire. That way we have that. Now we should be having a bunch of stuff. Okay. How many has that made? One. One frame. Holy moly. Because it takes so many screws. Then we can take the rotors and we can begin getting them into another one. Let's go ahead and we will set up another one of these. If I can do that about right there, maybe that should work, and then we can see if we can get that stuff in. So I do want to leave some room, so that way I can, get pipes and that kind of stuff threaded in. I could actually move it a little bit closer. Let me go and do that. Alright, now I have a whole bunch of statters and rotors coming into here, so I can begin making motors. And then I gotta figure out a way to get motors into another one of these so that I can begin making these here, and that's gonna be one of the hardest parts. I may move the motors from over there into this, and then I can just be making a whole bunch of motors in here, and then I can have another one of these things here. The manufacturer Just got to figure it out if that's the right way that I want things to work. You know, which ways they're facing. So that way I can get stuff really organized as best as I can. I don't really know of another way to do this. Alright, I think I've started getting this a little bit figured out for what I'm going to do here. I did some rearranging just to get things in the way that I figured they would work the best. I'm going to leave this area open for now, and then we can always add stuff if we need to. So we have our two assemblers here that are making, of course, what we need. So I'm going to go ahead and make the stators, and then I'm going to make the rotors. So we'll continue doing that. And then the motors here are going to feed into there, and then I need to wire this guy back up. So let me just go ahead and do that real quick. Let me see. Let me just go ahead and make sure I put up another pole. Always got to have poles. If I put that pole somewhere even right here, right between these two, or something right close to here. Looks like it might actually work right up there. Okay, then I can run some power from there to this pole. From this to there. There we go, that's better. Then I can take a piece and I can run it into here. Let me go look at this again real quick. So for the modular engines, I got to bring in some rubber. So I guess I do want to take in this from there into potentially one of these two. It doesn't really matter which one. I'll just go and run that into there. Okay. And then I have pieces running into here. So this thing is going to be making the modular engines. I just need rubber, and then I need power. So this thing is going to get full right here again. I'm about to, of course, probably build another pole just to keep everything running. That will go there, because I may need more stuff. Boy, this thing is just acting squirrely. There we go. And then I can put in a pole back here if I need to, of course. Put in a pole just right back over here out of this guy's way. Alright, and then wire that in so that way I can keep stuff wired in. And that can be wired into there. Okay. This is the truck station, which I'm going to have to figure out how in the heck. Guess I'm going to have to figure out a ramp or something to get the truck up onto here and then get it turned around and all that stuff. So, right now, let me take you on a little tour of what I have going on. Come on, you can get through here. Okay, I have these smart plating right here, up here, going into one of the conveyor lifts over here. That's going into here. I just need rubber, so that's going to be coming. And then in here, of course, you know, I'm making motors. And then, of course, the rotors are being made in here. And the screws are going to be one of the biggest problems. That's something that I'm trying to figure out a solution to, and right now I don't have a very good solution for what is going on, but I may be able to also divert a few resources and see if I can get some more flowing up into here somehow. I just don't know exactly how I'm going to do that from right here. But in any case, we have this running, and so there's a whole bunch of conveyor belts going literally everywhere. I also have a conveyor belt going over the top of here, but I made sure that the truck wasn't going to be impacted by it. So that way, that's that. Now I want to show you something that I have done, and I think I'll hope you like it. Let me just get over to where we have all of the plastic and the rubber, and I'll show you what I'm doing. And then we can figure out what we're going to do with everything once we get this done. So I'm hoping that what I'm going to do is going to work. Right now I'm over by the area that I built, that I did not so long ago when I built up all of this stuff. I'm going to probably get rid of it. Mainly because I have a oil extractor on a normal node that is all the way over there by the other one that we have set up with all that plastic and the rubber. And I'm going to set up 2 refineries over here to make the plastic and the rubber. And then, of course, probably maybe over this way, I'll set up a petroleum coke generator or 2 from the resources that I have from the rubber making and plastic making. So that way I have that, and then that should help out a little bit. Now, as far as the other stuff goes, let me get over to the plastic and the rubber, and I'll show you what my thought is. This is the pipeline right here that leads over to where I'm going to be setting up the refineries, because I figure it's going to be better to have that stuff centrally located than strewn all over across half of this world. That way I can try to keep stuff organized, and in the meantime, I think I'm going to begin moving a few things from here that we have set up with the plastic and all of that to over there. I'll probably use a tractor. I'm going to set up a couple of truck stations and probably have a couple of tractors or something going back and forth. So this is the truck station right here. It's getting full of plastic. I have a problem, or I had a problem where this back here was not making anything because it got full of, well, scared me. Got full of plastic in here where I had this set up, and so the plastic was not running, and when the plastic doesn't run, the petroleum coke doesn't run. So I rerouted a bunch of stuff here, as you can see. Okay, so the rubber is full there, which means that the rubber is going to be getting full in here. So we're definitely going to have to get some stuff going, because if this jams up in here too, then this isn't going to work, and that's not going to make any of the petroleum coke. Because if one thing fails, the rest of it fails. And so that's going to be one of the problems. This thing is completely full. Yeah. And what I may have to do is also set up a splitter on, or a merger on here, and see if I can... That's a splitter. If I can set up a merger on here, then I can also burn the coke as well. Let me see what I can do. Alright, so I did set up a conveyor on there. It is funky looking as all heck, but I think it should work. And this is an awesome shop. I am syncing all of this stuff, and it tells you how many points you need for your next coupon. I actually was trying to do a video, and I pulled out 19 coupons, which I have up here. I had some extras, and so I'm syncing a whole bunch of that stuff. And now that we have plastic coming in, I have the plastic diverted also. So when the plastic comes through here, this can fill up. That's fine, because it's going to fill up in here eventually. And then I can have the extra plastic just be diverted over to the awesome shop, awesome sink, I mean. And then it can get me some coupons, and then we can open up more stuff. I'll go over the coupons later once I can get this figured out. And I'm going to build another truck station, and then I will also have the rubber that is filled up in here going into a truck station, and I'll begin moving this stuff, and then we should be having a lot of rubber. But I really want to move the resources from this one right here that I have not wired up into over there with that long pipe, and then maybe we can just keep stuff centrally located if at all possible. I could make a train station from here, but that would also require a lot of extra work, and I don't think I want to do that right now. In any case, we have stuff making. We are making modular frames. We just need rubber, and you know what I can do? How full is this guy? Let's go see if we can make some of the motors. I'm going to grab whatever stacks I can of rubber. That would actually help out quite a bit. And then we can begin making stuff that we need for whatever that we need. And that's going to help out a lot. So as I'm taking the tractor over here, I'm going to show you something that I built. I'm sure that you've seen it already. I have a bridge in place, so that way I can truck stuff in. And then I don't have to worry about messing up with the tractor that is running underneath here. I could probably actually build up another section of these, and then I can have two vehicles running across without much problem. That would be pretty good. I have another truck station. Let's go ahead and dump the rubber that we have into here. Sweet. Now we just need to get one of these going into here, and I think that's going to help out a lot. We can do it to either one. Let's just go and do this closer one. Q. And now we're going to be making a whole bunch of modular engines, and then once we do, then we can build another, container out here to put those in. Then we can begin loading them into our space elevator, and we can also get the modular frames going for other things that we need. This is going to become a huge problem, and we need the modular frames for the adaptive control units that we also need in there. And everything is just kind of getting clogged up and backed up, and it's pretty doggone awesome, I do gotta say. So, this is Satisfactory. Thank you for joining me here. If you've enjoyed this episode, drop a like on the video. This is pure madness, but it is working, and I guess that's the important part. And that's going to be the best thing, to try to get all this stuff figured out so we can know how we're going to do things and get things done. You have a great day, and we will do some more to get some more stuff figured out, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.